Now loading.
In many ways, Kanye has been an architect in music. The way he's been able to help build, develop, and or extend an artist's overall sound and career. Whether that was through making huge contributions to an artist's album, like the 5 songs he produced on Jay-Z's Blueprint in 2001, which helped to shape the theme of the album. This included 1 single, with the rest of the album being album cuts. 4 of which were the initial songs made for the album and acted as like a foundation that other producers on the album were able to build on top of to continue to add to the overall album vision. Other albums like B from Common in 2005, where Ye produced 9 out of 11 songs, is where Ye was able to develop and build the album for the artist. Kanye has been able to produce individual songs for artists like Keisha Cole, I Changed My Mind, her debut single in 2004, Ludacris Stand Up, and Alicia Keys' You Don't Know My Name in 2003, Twista Overnight Celebrity in 2004, where he was able to elevate the artist in that way and at different stages of their career. He was able to reinvent the careers of Twista and Common, introducing them to a new generation of hip-hop fans. In general, he was able to build the career of artists like John Legend and Big Sean from scratch. He also played a key role in developing the early stages of Kid Cudi's career. But then he also added something new to establish artists to help further extend their run in music, like Jay-Z, Common, Twista, Talib Kweli, Pusha T, and others. An architect may design and develop a new building from scratch, or they may work on an established building by furthering its development. This is where I see a connection between Kanye's career as a producer and an architect's career in terms of how they both develop new things from scratch, but also extending the development of something that is already established. That being established buildings, facilities or environments, and established music artists' careers. When it comes to Kanye's own albums, he has approached each album like an architect, reinventing himself with each album.
Let people argue. Y'all don't realize the more y'all arguing, the more it's like I'm a brand new artist. I feel like the way I felt at the College Dropout when people was dissing my raps. It's people dissing stuff again. It's good to challenge yourself. Put yourself in a situation where you're not the king of your castle. Go to a completely different arena and say, man, I want to go up against Silverchair. Like, who is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to go up against Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Ensuring that there was a different theme each time, taking risks with sounds and visuals, but also always putting effort into how he packaged his albums, from the sound and theme of the album, to the album cover, to the music videos, to the stage design of his tours, and the wardrobe for that era. Every album is its own ecosystem. During this process, collaboration was always a key factor, and being open to principles from multiple disciplines. Virgil and Ye linking up in the mid to late 2000s was important for both of them, as they were able to learn from each other as they were growing individually. Virgil had a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from the University of Wisconsin-Madison in 2002 and went on to get a master's degree in architecture at Illinois Institute of Technology in 2006. So Virgil was able to bring architecture and construction-based principles to Kanye's world. That included if they were working on the pastel clothing brand or thinking about the creative direction of Kanye's visuals. I would say that the graduation era is where Kanye really started to put effort into his stage design with the Glow in the Dark tour, a physical world created as an extension of the Graduation album. This was also a coming of age album for Kanye, where he incorporated more electronic sounds into his music, and he started to really aggressively pursue stadium music.
Stadium status.
After touring with U2 between 2005 and 2006 at their Vertigo tour, the album had a lot of stadium-driven hits like Stronger, Flashing Lights, Good Life, Can't Tell Me Nothing, and even album cuts like I Wonder and Big Brother. I would even say Drunk and Hot Girls is a stadium level song. This album was also very animation inspired, from the album cover designed by contemporary artist Takashi Murakami, as well as the Good Morning music video directed by Takashi Murakami. The production design included Kanye, Es Devlin, Martin Phillips, and John McGuire. The Glow in the Dark tour started on the 16th of April 2008 and ended on the 7th of December 2008. Part of the theme of the Glow in the Dark tour involved Kanye being a spaceship pilot navigating through a meteor storm, a deserted planet of dry ice, and looking to find his way home. The stage was transformed into a series of different landscapes, such as a giant moon, and also displaying other glow-in-the-dark features, such as a glowing-eyed monster and a robot. There were lively light sequences, and Kanye was dressed in accessories that were glowing. Stunner shades, as well as other science fiction outfits, were on display. The Glow in the Dark tour was Ye's first global tour and was the first time that he really displayed phenomenal stage design. After the graduation era, I noticed that Kanye continued to develop his stage design, not just for tours, but also for one-off performances, such as the VH1 Storyteller show filmed in 2009, where he was in his 808s era with the 808s mullet and suit outfit with his white Louis Vuitton shoes from his collab with LV. Direction and production design was done by Es Devlin, and it looks like there's a screen on the ceiling resembling the stage. The stage itself was a compact square shape with only Kanye performing on it, and with the band of musicians surrounding the outskirts of the stage. Other standout live performances of his with great stage design was definitely the 2010 VMA performance, where he wore a red suit with his red Louis Vuitton shoes. His MPC was the initial focus of that performance, as it was positioned on a white Greek-style column podium, with Kanye making his way onto the stage. He was initially standing within a black circle on a black floor with darting white lines circling around him, and it felt like he was standing in the middle of a clock. As the performance progressed, the stage turned white, which enabled his red outfit to stand out even more. The ballerinas also added structure, balance, and depth to the stage design. Also, when he headlined the 2011 Coachella show, where he performed a lot of the My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy songs, the stage design and theme of the show was a direct reflection of the themes from the album, including the album covers by George Kondo. The stage design on tour is a physical world that provides a visual experience for the fans in the crowd. The clothing also helps to elevate the visual experience and the music being performed. The attire and the stage design are all interacting with each other. And I feel like this is what Kanye continued to do over time throughout his tours. Kanye and Virgil interned at Fendi back in 2009 to learn more about fashion and how to make clothes, but their experience was quite limited to uninspiring tasks, and their pursuit of leather jogging pants was denied by Fendi, but would actually go on to become quite a huge trend in 2013. Although Kanye said that they were limited with what they could do during the internship, them being in the Fendi building was still a valuable experience for both of them, with that exposure feeding the ambitions that they both had. It gave them the motivation to pursue their fashion ideas post-internship, and it provided them with more clarity on where they wanted to go. This was all just research and development. The 2010s decade is definitely where Kanye became an even greater live performer compared to the 2000s, and had his most creative tours. The first tour of that decade was the Watch the Throne tour with Jay-Z, building on their Watch the Throne album. The Watch the Throne tour began on the 29th of October 2011 and ended on the 22nd of June 2012. Visually, the tour was incredible. There was a main T-shaped stage where both artists performed together, and also two cube-shaped mini stages, one at the end of each of the arena that would rise and be lowered at different points during the show. Kanye and Jay-Z performed separately on the cubes, with various imagery being on display, such as an aggressively growling Rottweiler and LED swimming sharks. Kanye and Es Devlin were responsible for the creative direction and set design of the tour, with additional set design contributions from Bruce Rodgers. Looking back, when you think about the Watch the Throne era, it was a victory lap for both Kanye and Jay-Z, but you could say for different reasons. 10 years prior to Watch the Throne, Kanye produced 5 songs on Jay-Z's Blueprint album back in 2001. If you go back to 2001 and work your way back up to 2011, Kanye had produced for a number of artists, including Jay-Z, Alicia Keys, Ludacris, Mr. Hudson, Kid Cudi, Lil Wayne, Janet Jackson, Drake, and many others. But he had also released his own solo albums: College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation, 808s and Heartbreak, and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. So Watch the Throne was a direct victory lap for the success and impact of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which had been released 9 months prior to Watch the Throne. You can say that Kanye had reached the pinnacle of his career and was doing a collab album and tour with the artists that he produced for as an emerging producer, back when he wasn't a solo artist. I feel like the Watch the Throne era was a victory lap for Jay-Z. If you go back to 2001 and work your way back up to 2011, Jay-Z had put out albums like Blueprint, Blueprint 2, Black Album, which was like a victory lap album within itself. So this here is the victory lap. Became the president of Def Jam, playing a key role in the early stages of the careers of artists like Rihanna and Neo. He put out Kingdom Come, American Gangster, and Blueprint 3. Seeing Kanye and Jay-Z both on the cube-shaped stages was symbolic. It was both of them acknowledging that they had reached the height of their careers, but in pursuit of more dominance. And now it would be in the form of a huge collaboration by joining forces. Everything that they had achieved and experienced individually was now being celebrated collectively. Standing on the cube stages, soaking in the moment, and placing themselves on a pedestal musically and culturally. They also celebrated each other's individual success when they performed hits from their respective solo albums, such as Encore, Can't Tell Me Nothing, Good Life, H to the Izzo, 99 Problems, All Falls Down, All of the Lights, Runaway, and Empire State of Mind. Jay-Z in August 2011, during a radio interview with WEDR, spoke on the meaning of the title of the album. It's just protecting the music and the culture. It's people that's in the forefront of the music. Watch the throne, like protect it. You just watch how popular music shifts and how hip-hop basically replaced rock and roll as the youth music. The same thing can happen to hip-hop. It can be replaced by other forms of music. So it's making sure that we put the effort into making the best product so that we can contend with all this other music, with dance music that's dominating the charts right now and indie music that's dominating the festivals. The album explores themes such as being in a position of power. It looks at wealth, affluence, luxury rap, the burdens of success, and social commentary on areas like war, murder, and racism. Within this album, Kanye and Jay-Z had a pursuit of bigger goals by speaking things into existence, like Made in America, prime time, but also being vulnerable when they needed to be on songs like New Day. So that Watch the Throne album cover represents a sense of luxury and can be seen as like a piece of art. And this was designed by Riccardo Tisci and Virgil. Kanye was so inspired by the stage design of the Watch the Throne tour that he started his own creative agency called Donda in 2012 so that he could develop his stage design further, building on the momentum of the Watch the Throne tour, but also developing his visuals with more of out of the box thinking and higher execution, exploring applied design to areas like fashion, architecture, music, advertising, and other creative disciplines. Some of the early projects outside of Kanye included trailer remixes for Lindsay Lohan's Thriller, The Canyons, to introducing a free music writing program for young people in Chicago. Donda was about pursuing projects with no creative boundaries. In terms of the team structure, Kanye was CEO, Virgil was creative director, and other members included Matthew Williams, Joe Perez, and Justin Saunders as artistic directors, and Heron Preston was working as a graphic designer. This was essentially a creative hub containing people of different backgrounds and was creatively diverse, providing high quality products and services. In 2011, Kanye hired OMA, Office for Metropolitan Architecture, to design a 7-screen surround sound pavilion for the screening of his short film, Cruel Summer, an extension of his Good Music compilation album. And this film debuted at the 2012 Cannes Film Festival. The pavilion was designed to immerse the audience in a space defined by 7 screens, providing a cinematic experience. The key collaborators with OMA for this project were Donda as the creative team, 2x4 design firm for graphics, and Arsene for production. The core team of project architects from OMA that worked on this was Lisa Hollywood, Kaz Nakashima, and Warner Stanisku. The second tour of the decade was the Yeezus tour. The Yeezus tour started on the 19th of October 2013 and ended on the 15th of September 2014. Kanye was initially thinking about the theme of the album being about the end of the world, involving explosions, fire, mountains, people in mosques, and Christian symbolism at the heart of the imagery during the show. The stage design for the tour as a whole was worked on by Family New York, Vanessa B. Croft, Es Devlin, and Donda. I want to focus on Family New York's contribution to the stage design. Kanye had approached Warner Stanisku to design a 50-foot high miniature mountain that would split in half and turn into a volcano during the tour for him to ascend on stage. This was one of her most notable projects during her time at Family New York, an architecture office ran by Warner Stanisku and Dong Ping Wong. Warner had previously taken Dong Ping to the Watch the Throne tour, where they were both inspired by the stage design and overall show. Warner also had the opportunity to be in the studio during the recording of Yeezus, and this experience probably provided inspiration and introduced her to key themes that would go on to communicate the vision of the stage design. Warner reflected on her working relationship with Kanye with Pin Up magazine. She said, "He looked at me as an architect without any conventional stereotyping or judgment we're so used to in the field. Typically, you're not recognized as an architect until you're like 40, 50 years old. As a woman too, there are all these obstacles. He comes from a very different field where these things don't matter as much. He was also bridging the creative process where in music, many people collaborate at the table. He was trying to do the same in architecture, and it was much more difficult in architecture. He gave me freedom and helped me believe in myself." She also went on to say that interesting conversations always happen outside of the architectural field. This makes sense since a lot of Warner's work has focused on connecting architecture with pop culture. The tour told a story of redemption, through 5 stages: fighting, rising, falling, searching, and finding, with specific songs from the Yeezus album and his other albums falling into these categories. Mason Martin Margiela and Ye worked together to create fashion pieces and looks for Ye to wear during the tour. It's clear that the themes of the album, the stage design, as well as the lighting and visual effects by John Maguire and the fashion were all interacting with each other during the tour. What was interesting about the tour was during a lot of the performances, Kanye was seen wearing the Mason Margiela mask. The base of the mask was made of black silk gauze, a transparent material that allowed Kanye to see. A Margiela spokesperson said this: "It was essential that the transparent material was in black and not white, because white becomes opaque. With Kanye wearing the mask, it almost turned him into a character and removed some of the human connection, which brought more attention to the other items that were on stage, including the mountain/volcano. This is similar to NFL players that play in helmets on the field where their faces are not that visible. So it forces you to view the overall game as a product, removing the idea of individuality for the players. Ye wearing that mask shifted your focus where you were forced to appreciate the stage design, visuals, and performance actors, and viewing Ye as a piece of the puzzle rather than the actual puzzle. The Yeezus tour was arguably Ye's most artistic when you look at the stage design, visual effects, and fashion. It was a huge statement, just like the album was a statement for how he was feeling about his experiences in fashion at the time. He leaned into architecture to express the themes of the tour. In terms of the album cover, after different versions of the cover were being developed between Virgil, Justin Saunders, Joe Perez, Matthew Williams, and Kanye, Virgil came up with the idea of making something that looked like a collage that had been handmade with tape and paper cutouts, which then led to the clear case cover version, and that had a simple red tape placed on it. Virgil looked at it as an open casket that was a reminder that the physical CD era was about to end. Towards the end of the Yeezus tour era was the start of a new collaboration between Family New York and Virgil, when Virgil asked Dongping Wang and Wana to design his Off-White flagship store, whilst they were in a car traveling together to Kanye's wedding. They would go on to collaborate on Off-White's Hong Kong flagship store. The inspiration for the design was to create a unique, immersive experience and to move away from the traditional store experience that typically involves some form of window shopping. Their goal was to make a jungle-inspired entryway for the store, to make it feel like a beautifully landscaped luxury garden. The design was all about embracing sustainability, referencing the benefits of nature, and having a sense of scenery. Dongping Wang said that Virgil's fast-paced approach to design changed the way he produced architectural design. When they worked on the Hong Kong flagship store and other Off-White stores like Tokyo and Shanghai, majority of the process was done through text. Dongping Wang realized that during these experiences that it was a more effective form of communication throughout projects. What was interesting about this whole period of Family New York's collaboration with Virgil on the Off-White flagship store was that Family New York would routinely share the process of their work in the form of drawings, sketches, and updates on the store openings. I think this was a great way to communicate the progress of a project, connecting the dots from an architect's perspective. This was a big part of Virgil's vision for the flagship stores, to show young people about the main possibilities that exist when working on architecture and design-driven projects. He wanted to constantly share the process and the work he and Family New York did as a way to give back to the kids.
Listen to the kids, bro!
The 2015 Hollywood Bowl performance by Kanye was an epic one, and it also was kind of inspired by the Yeezus stage design, flirting with the use of height and platforms to distance himself from the crowd, and the use of performance artists to tell stories. He performed the entire 808s and Heartbreak album, and whilst performing Pinocchio's story, he wore a jumpsuit that involved his face being completely covered, which almost forced you to focus on the stage design around him, similar to when he wore the Margiela mask during the Yeezus tour. Between 2012 and 2016, Kanye and Virgil were doing a lot of research and development through the various projects that they were working on, where fashion, music, design, and architecture were all being explored in different ways. Both Ye and Virgil continue to embrace multidisciplinary perspectives. Virgil even said that he always wanted to apply his architectural principles that he developed from his master's degree in architecture to the fashion world.
In 2012, the Donda Creative Agency was created, with Virgil being the creative director. Virgil also started his Pyrex Vision clothing brand. Kanye was closing out the Watch the Throne tour with Jay-Z. Kanye presented the Cruel Summer movie through the 7-screen pavilion at Cannes Film Festival. In May of 2012, Good Music's Cruel Summer compilation album came out later on that year also. In 2013, Virgil launched the Off-White brand. Kanye released the Yeezus album, and the Yeezus tour was starting. In 2014, the Off-White flagship store in Hong Kong opened. Kanye closed out the Yeezus tour. In 2015, Kanye had some standout performances at the Brit Awards and Hollywood Bowl, where both had experimental stage design. In 2016, you had the listening party and the Yeezy Season 3 fashion show at MSG. The Life of Pablo was released. The St. Pablo tour took place. The Off-White flagship store in Tokyo opened.
The third and final tour of the 2010s decade for Kanye was the St. Pablo tour. Kanye's listening party for The Life of Pablo at Madison Square Garden in 2016 also involved the debut of his Season 3 fashion collection. What was interesting about the stage is that it channeled the mini cube stages from the Watch the Throne tour, where on one side you had male models with female models being on the other side. Height and platforms were also incorporated like Watch the Throne and Yeezus tours. The St. Pablo tour started on August 25th, 2016, but ended on November 19th, 2016 due to being cut short. One of the standout features of the tour was the floating stage. The main stage was a rectangular steel platform which was attached to 2 parallel steel joists that allowed Kanye to float around the entire arena. The parallel steel joists were also connected to a larger size steel frame that stretched along most of the arena. This changed the way fans experienced an artist show. Kanye said that he wanted people to have fun, where it wasn't just about watching the artist perform. The floating stage allowed people to focus on their own experience whilst also enjoying Kanye's performance, using design to bring that club and concert experience together, where Kanye is a co-headliner along with the party experience created by the fans. Fans became part of the experience, and in many ways the floating stage meant that there wasn't a traditional stage, and the fans were performing, singing, and rapping along to the songs with Kanye. The St. Pablo tour definitely used the crowd as part of the experience of the show.
Take
if you notice in this clip, for the most part, the people are enjoying Kanye's performance, but they aren't looking up at him 24/7. They're enjoying their time as if they're at a club and focused on their own experience and interactions with other people on the ground level. This is what Kanye wanted. Virgil posted this as his IG post and said that technically there are no seats. He also posted that there is no real stage. Everybody is contributing to the experience. The stage design was worked on by Kanye, Traskhouse, Es Devlin, and Strictly FX. At this point in 2016, Kanye spoke about how he was thinking about the future and the way it connects with music, thinking about how to provide different types of experiences at concerts. He spoke about the inspiration he gained from opening up for U2 and the Rolling Stones, watching Michael Jackson performance tapes, and studying the work of Daft Punk, Radiohead, Trent Reznor, and film director Ridley Scott. The Life of Pablo was a playlist album that was a collection of songs from his discography up to that point. It was a roller coaster experience listening to it, but that's a big reason why it's so fun to listen to. This reflected the type of show that he provided for the St. Pablo tour. The album cover was a DIY type of cover, and during this era, he started to make his development process more accessible, updating his album several times after its release. So Family New York, Warner Stanisku, and Dongping Wang went to the St. Pablo show and were inspired by the stage design. This shows that they went to all three of his tours, working on the stage design of one of them, but they were able to see the development of his stage design through all three tours that they went to. And it also showed that they were still a fan of his live shows and the stage design that was done by other people on the other tours. We've seen Kanye continue to provide unique stage design experiences that incorporate architecture such as the giant rectangular glass box that hovered over the stage, Dodger Stadium, during Tyler the Creator's festival, Camp Flogno, that he and Kid Cudi performed inside, designed by Traskhouse. As time progressed, Kanye continued to explore architecture, whether that was hiring architect Claudia Silverstone and designer architect Axel Vervoort to work on Kanye and his ex-wife Kim's minimalistic California mansion, which they unveiled during the 2019-2020 era. Kanye collaborated with Axel on the design of the home, including the hallway, and spoke on this during Kanye and Kim's quiz at their home with Architectural Digest. He also touched on how minimalism within a home can reduce anxiety and enable a chill and calm environment, referencing his closet. Claudio Silverstone designed spacious master bath. Wirtz International Landscape Architects, under the direction of Peter Wirtz, oversaw the design of the development and growth of the All Green Gardens. Family New York were architectural designers on this home project also. When it comes to his homes, the big inspiration for Kanye is designing the home through the lens of his kids and the childlike curiosity of children in general. It's funny because 808s and Heartbreak was probably the first album where Kanye really embraced minimalism, and the minimalistic home wasn't really a huge surprise. When you also think about the home in the Love Lockdown video, which was pretty minimalistic. The domes, houses that Kanye was working on during 2019 was about new age housing for the homeless, blurring the lines between low, middle, and high income communities. He built 4 dome-like structures on 300 acres in Calabasas. The plan was to create a full housing complex on the site, but it may have conflicted with the LA building code as he didn't get building permits which must be pulled before construction unless the structures are temporary. Even though the dome housing project didn't materialize, the pursuit of this project is an indication of Ye's ability to explore ideas and look to solve problems through architecture. Ye is always finding ways to push boundaries. You can tell that there was probably some inspiration from Star Wars with the design of the domes, which also shows that Ye tries to connect architecture and pop culture. Kanye wanted to reimagine the concept of space and making more efficient dwellings for the future. Kanye is definitely not afraid to draw inspiration across creative disciplines, and Stephen Smith, the head of product at Yeezy and a constant collaborator with Kanye, spoke about how the Yeezy footwear team can sometimes be inspired by the Yeezy architecture team and vice versa.
What's Ye's sort of circle like? Does he have someone like you when it comes to shoes, someone else when it comes to clothing, someone else when it comes to architecture, and there's this sort of small group of sort of designers in different sort of aspects of life?
Yeah, I think it crosses over multiples. Some of us actually work on it together. We cross over, one of the architects might have an interesting shape or form and then can translate that into a piece of footwear or a garment. Some of the garment materials might inform what you're doing for finish treatment with inside the domiciles. So it all kind of cross-references. I always equate it to there's a group of us that are the band.
Throughout the past 16 years, Kanye has embraced architecture through experimenting with the stage design of his tours as well as working on homes. Virgil was a key person introducing his perspective of architecture to Ye, which went on to strengthen the Donda creative agency and sparked so many creative projects. One of Virgil's last projects was helping to design and build the Freedom Skate Park in Ghana, which has been temporarily closed due to contract issues. At the heart of all of this is the curiosity to explore the possibilities of architecture through different creative disciplines, applying principles from architecture as you go along your path.